Hey there, and welcome to today's training, which is the 5-figure blueprint. So in this session, I want to talk about how to master your mindset for those 5-figure income months. So let's dive straight in. So in this training, I'm going to be sharing with you the fundamental process for expanding your money mindset. Think of this part of the work of the Expert Positioning for Profit program as putting yourself in an experiment. This is all this is. It's an experiment. So I want you to kind of see it in that way, not get so attached, but just play with this, have fun with this. So you're playing with the universe and you're playing with your potentiality. And imagine you're putting yourself in a Petri dish. So this is how I always think about when I want to create a goal or when I want to do something I've never done before. And I feel that a little bit of butterflies, a little bit of fear about and trepidation about, oh, this, can I do this? I see it as an experiment. I play with it. And very often you'll hear me say this, put yourself in a Petri dish. It's like your self-imposed experiment. So I keep going the wrong way with the mouse. And so you're shining so brightly when you're doing this work. You're shining so brightly that those parts of you that thrive in the dark, that gunk that clogs the pipes of prosperity, they're all brought to the surface because those parts of you, those shadow parts of you, those dark parts of you, the limiting parts of you, they cannot survive in the dark. So when we do this work, we release those parts of us because they come to the surface. We're able to release them and let go forever. So let's talk about the reason we self-sabotage our income potential. So it's literally all about paradigms. Another word for paradigms is your subconscious programming or your conditioning. Now, paradigms are both the problem and the solution. So what is a paradigm, first of all? Let's dive into that. So a paradigm really is a collection of ideas, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that we've been subjected to, let's say, so raised up in, taught, habituated to, that become fixed as beliefs and states of being. So they control us if we don't control them. So it's, we talk about, 95% of our behaviors, the way we think and be is under the control of our subconscious programming. Same thing as just calling it a paradigm. So let's have a look at just some simple examples of paradigms. Everyone has their own unique paradigms based on their personal upbringing and unique life experience. But there are collective paradigms too. So paradigms are neither good nor bad, depending on your point of view and what it is you want to do in your life. So for us, we want to grow, we want to progress, we want to build businesses, we want to make more money. And that is probably going to require breaking through some limiting paradigms. And a collective paradigm, especially in the Western world, is breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 3 meals a day is a pretty broad collective societal paradigm. And you have a unique paradigm around your work ethic. So I was raised to believe that hard work and to a large extent sacrifice and struggle was the way to success and career accomplishments. So that paradigm did not serve me, does not serve anyone. Because, what do? We then make sure that life is one long struggle in order to get the success. And the success feels very short-lived when you're burnt out. And of course, you have a money paradigm. So you have a unique money paradigm, that is your personal ideas, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors around savings, your income ability, how you manage your money. You have a paradigm around debt, money goals, and beliefs about poverty and wealth. So it affects everything. All of these money paradigms and categories of money paradigm, if you like, are all developed, learned, perpetuated, and reinforced over time. It's so important to deal with these up front because this work complements the practical side, the strategic side that you're going to go into in the next modules. So, as I said in the earlier video, you can have the most brilliant marketing strategy, but if your paradigm is pointing to poverty, then your fancy funnels will do nothing for you. You might have a big, successful month, but it breaches the boundary wall, if you like, of your paradigm. So what will happen is you'll self-sabotage, and then you'll have a few months of no income. Trust me, I've been there. So I know how that feels. So as I said, paradigms are the problem and the solution. But what do I mean by that statement? So the fact is they're largely unconscious, they're habitual, conditioned programs that run our lives. And because they're beneath the level of consciousness, we don't realize that we may be self-sabotaging our boldest and most beautiful dreams and desires. For example, you want to grow your business online, but part of your paradigm says it's unsafe to be seen. If that's beneath the surface of your conscious awareness, you're going to sabotage your best efforts to consistently show up and market yourself, because underneath the surface, it's not safe to be seen. So they are the solution as well, because you can install new paradigms that serve you, just like switching a program on your computer. Once your new paradigm is installed, it's in there. It's automatic. You start to create results on autopilot. It's phenomenal. So they really are the problem and they are the solution. And there is a process for doing this, for installing new paradigms, which is what I want to talk to you about today. So this is all about the 5-figure blueprint, mastering your mindset for 5-figure months. So I have been studying law of attraction, money mindset, new age philosophies, and manifestation practically every single day for over 9 years now. And I put myself into an experiment with everything I test. So I kind of had fun with it. I am the test subject. And my observation of the process and the results that I've so far manifested and enjoyed are such a match to all my previous experiences and anything and everything that I've read and studied in this area, that I feel really confident in sharing this information with you. So calling this a formula is semantics. However, the process is so accurate that I really believe it is a fail-safe formula, and it works for any goal in any area of your life, as long as you work it. So you'll have experienced this in your own lives over and over, but perhaps without deliberate intent at the time. So first things first, I'm just going to break down kind of the steps here and then go into them in a bit more detail. So the first thing is that you must get yourself a journal. A journal is essential for this experiment. Let's call it an experiment. Your journal is essential. Or you can set up an online folder that you can open every day and write in. I ended up setting my journal up in a Google Doc folder purely for confidentiality, purely to feel that whatever I was writing was just so secure, so safe, that my journals wouldn't be found and read and all that stuff like revealed. So that was really like my thinking when I set up my journals on Google. The step 1 is to define the desire. Step 2 is flood your subconscious. Step 3, be vigilant for the specs and signs. Step 4, the growth paradox. Step 5, watch as your wishes fulfill. Okay, so let's talk about this pre-step, getting yourself a journal. This is important because you're going to want to track the journey. So I track when I want to accomplish anything, and I put something mega here, but really anything. I'm a tracker. So when I wanted to get out of debt, my journal was my main tool. It was my main tool, my journal. When I was running a marathon, I tracked. Quitting alcohol for 7 months, I tracked. Hitting 6-figure year, making 100K in 3 months, I tracked. So all of these things that I did, my journal was like my buddy, my partner in this whole process. 3 reasons why, amongst many, that your journal is going to be an essential part of this journey is, first of all, you're able to see your progress, because things are going to get bumpy. So seeing your progress is essential. And one of the books I recommend is Dr. David Hawkins' Letting Go. And he talks about how when we are in our personal development journey and we're committed to our growth, we can tend to get sort of focused on the current shovel of coal that we are shoveling, you know, meaning whatever it is that we're trying to clear or create or whatever, we look at that shovel of coal and it feels like, you know, when's it going to end? You know, or God, I'm never getting anywhere. And he says, but we forget about all the coal we've already shoveled, you know, and I'm guilty of that. You know, so I really want to encourage you to, when you have your journal, you're able to really enjoy tracking your progress. Because, you know, when I look back at my journals and I see some of the things I'm writing, I'm like, I don't feel that anymore. Oh my God, I don't feel that. I don't believe that anymore. I couldn't even remember that that was one of the things that I used to really believe, you know, a limiting belief. So you're able to see your progress and observe your growth in a much more, yeah, it just gives you a broader perspective. The second thing is writing your desire every day in your journal impresses it into your subconscious and trains your focus and teaches your reticular activating system. Remember, we talked about in the last video about what's important to you. So when the reason I've bolded that writing your desire every day is because one of the questions I get is, well, what do I write every day in this journal? Because I actually want you to track daily. And I should add here, very important note. When you are writing in your journal, you're actually going to track it by writing the date and actually day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. That is so important. So I just really wanted to insert that. I realize I haven't got that on the presentation here. So please make sure that when you're tracking, you're actually tracking the day. So you know, oh my God, day 17, this is where I'm at, okay? But when it comes to what am I going to write every day, you're writing your desire every day. That's the first thing. So you're just going to write what it is you want to create and how it feels as though it's already done. So it's just really getting into that feeling through the flowing of writing, you know, oh, I just love knowing, you know, that this is what I'm creating. I love seeing my partner's face when I tell him how much I've made this month, or, you know, I love being able to, you know, sit in that restaurant, I can taste the food, or whatever it is, you're writing out that vision. So as you do that every day, it kind of develops that clarity, pulls it out of the impossible into the possible and makes it more real for you, starts to create that imprint in your subconscious. Your subconscious knows what we're going for, okay? And it also includes writing out how much you're earning every month. You know, 10K, 20K, 50K, whatever it is, but you're writing that desire every single day. And also, as I said, writing out how that feels, why that's a must for you. So it all comes down to, you know, the previous exercise on getting clarity on what that vision is. So in this case, you know, we're talking about creating your 5-figure monthly income goals, but you can do this as a collective for your vision and your monthly income goals as well. The third reason why you want to have your journal is, the mind is crazy, but you will think after a few days that you've been doing this forever, you know, and I said here, when it's only been like 15 days or something. It's crazy how the mind deludes us. So you'll track the insights that have exponentially shifted how you see yourself. But there will come a point where you might start feeling a little bit impatient. Oh, why isn't this happening quick enough? What's going on? And then when you look back, you go, oh my God, okay, all right, so it's only day 13. I've only been at this for 13 days. I can keep going, you know? So that's another reason why it's really important to track the days and know what day you're on. Okay, so that's the pre-step, get the journal and the reasons why. So the first thing is to define the desire. So as I said, outrageous is subjective. So we're talking about outrageous goals here. But in the previous step, I talked about going bold, going big, going, you know, beyond what you perceive right now is realistic to you. And so being outrageous, it is subjective, but I don't want you to think about being realistic or reasonable or basing your desire on what you think you can accomplish. Go for your heart's desire while accepting that the desire may evolve and become refined anyway as a result of this process. You know, I've done that. I've had, specific goals. And, as I've gone through the process, within a couple of weeks, I start to, the goal evolves. And it moves me in a place where I feel even more aligned with that evolution. So allow yourself to be flexible, allow yourself to go with, your higher self if it's calling you to something slightly different. So you define the desire, that amount of money that you want, the vision. And then once you've done that, this is the next step. Define the beliefs you must install, or that you imagine has to be in place in order to accomplish that goal. So let me share with you some examples. So step one, define the desire and then the associated beliefs. So let's say I make at least £50,000 per month in my business. Equals, now let's look at some of the beliefs that might have to be installed to hit that. I am highly respected, highly paid, and highly sought after. Money flows to me in avalanches of abundance. Making money is so easy and fun for me. I provide an outstanding service with confidence. I am rich. I trust myself. I am supported. I am committed and find it easy to follow through on my promises. I deliver outstanding value. I am made of the right stuff. New opportunities fall into my lap. I am an excellent judge of character. I attract amazing people for my support team. I am a natural born salesperson. So I've just kind of come up with these beliefs that is very likely to be the beliefs of somebody who earns that X amount of money. Make sense? So find those associated beliefs. As you're doing that, as you're writing out all these beliefs, you might think, well, that voice in your head would say, well, yeah, this is BS. If you say, I am a money mate, I am a natural born salesperson, money flows to me in avalanches of abundance, then that voice is going to kick up a fuss, isn't it? It's going to say, that's not true of me. That's not who I am. So here's the reframe. What you're doing is you're scripting with an awareness of the new beliefs that you'd like to have. That's all. You're just trying them on. You're seeing what comes up. You're not saying, I am a natural boss, I am a money magnet. If that feels so like shitty to you, if that just feels like you're lying to yourself. So the important thing is here is you've got to note what comes up. Write the stuff that comes up down. So it could be, bullshit, I can't stick to a schedule. That was mine. I can't make that kind of money. I'm not good enough. This won't work for me. I don't have what it takes. I'm a deluded fool. Who do I think I am? Anything that comes up, write it all down. Because this is perfect. But you don't want to stop here. This is the old you simply asserting itself. It's just your old paradigm. It's your programming that wants to keep you safe and sane. Throwing the kitchen sink at you, going, what are you doing with all these new, trying on these new beliefs? Come back to being small where it's safe. So a paradigm becomes immediately unstable when you question it, hold it up to the light, and you ask, does this work for me? It immediately kind of unbalances a paradigm. You may also say, this isn't who I want to be. I understand this isn't who I am. It's merely my conditioning based on my childhood. I choose not to identify with this story. God, so powerful, so simple, yet so powerful. You're drawing a line in the sand. You've called out the beliefs. You've made a decision. I choose not to identify with this story. So all of these stories that come up, Eckhart Tolle calls them pain bodies, which I really like. It's almost like this separate entity to you, which essentially it is. It's not you at your essence and your core. These are just they are pain bodies. They're just things like blocks of energy that are stuck. And you have emotional and mental pain bodies that keep you locked in the past and miserable. But they only keep you locked in the past and miserable because you identify with them. Make sense? So if your belief is coming up that, I can't make that kind of money. Who do I think I am? And you start feeling the feels of going, oh my God, I better stop. Oh God, I can't do this. Oh my God, I can't charge that for my program. Then you've just identified with the belief, with the pain body. You've gone with it. You've said, you've allowed the pain body to sweep you up like a tidal wave. So hard to resist, I know, but that's what's happened. You've identified with that belief. The idea is, don't go with them. You want to objectify those beliefs, observe them, write them down, look at them on that sheet of paper. When they're out of your head and on paper, it really does give you that kind of distance, that space. Would you say this to your best friend? Is this stuff really what your higher self believes to be true? No. Is it a fact in so much as the entire population experiences this? Byron Katie, if you've ever read the works by Byron Katie, brilliant. She simply asks, is this true? And there'll be a part of your body that says, yes. And then you want to ask, is this really true? Like 100% categorically, 100% of the time, is this really true? You've got to at least find one piece of evidence. Actually, no. So therefore, it cannot be categorically true. So I listed all of my bullshit stories as they emerged like ants out of a disturbed nest. When I did this work and I looked at all my associated beliefs that I needed to install in order to hit my goal, all the stuff came up. So I listed what came into my conscious awareness. And then here's what I did. I asked, is this really true? And sat with the answer, which was invariably no. If the answer is yes, as I've just said, if it says yes, it's really true, then as I've said, you just say, is this true 100% of the time? And is it true 100% of the time for everybody? Because then that would be a truth, a fundamental truth, but it's not, right? So invariably you will know, or you can find evidence of somebody whose experience refutes this belief. So you're cracking this stuff wide open, shining a light into the darkness, and this stuff just cannot survive in the light, cannot thrive in the light. It thrives in darkness. But now we're lifting a lid on all of this. So here's an actual screenshot of the stuff that I did next. So we're going to do a clearing process next. This is another super important step, and it's clearing out all the stuff that you've held on to in your psyche in relation to money. So these are all your memories that carry any element of negativity, pain, shame, resentment, anger, jealousy, fear, unworthiness, the lot. So what I did, I just wrote them down as quick as I could. I tapped on them. So tapping, doing EFT while reciting the Ho'oponopono prayer. I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. I thank you, over and over, because I was triggered. I was triggered doing this work. So I just found that relief through EFT and doing the Ho'oponopono. So once I'd done that and I was just reading through them, I then scribbled them out one by one, not just marking a line through. I literally scored, you can see I scored through them so I couldn't see what was beneath them anymore. So let me give you some examples of the type of stuff that came up. And these aren't all mine, by the way. These are things that, when I've worked with clients. So these are just examples that you can pull out or get inspiration from and think, oh, right, I know what I can write down that's very similar to that. So, for example, stealing money from mum's purse. Getting scolded for asking or receiving money, feeling unworthy after a date with someone who was wealthy, felt intimidated when I met XYZ who is wealthy. So again, it's just examples. Being denied a pay rise or a promotion at work. If that happened to you when you were in your corporate, maybe that's stuck somewhere, get it out. Being ripped off by an ex-partner, or going through a painful and expensive divorce, real toxic stuff around maintenance and the money. Having a business partner stealing from me, that could be an example for you. I personally haven't had a business partner steal from me, but that's an example that I have heard client had that experience. Taking a client's money, even when they knew they weren't a good fit. Have you ever done that? Has it ever kind of, oh, I knew I shouldn't have taken that client, and it's stuck in your craw? Losing money, I hear this a lot. I'm trying to think, did I ever experience this? But I know for certain there was a couple of clients who, as a child, were given like a £1 note to go get something from the local shop, lost the money, and was absolutely scolded by parent. And that stayed with them. They never forgot that frightening experience. Feeling shame for receiving a gift. I'll hold my hand up to that one. Big on the shame for receiving gifts. Having to ask a partner for money, that can kick up a lot of shame. Getting clamped and having to pay £100 to get your car back. And they are really vicious people, the car clampers. If you've ever been on the wrong end of them, they are nasty, nasty people. They don't care. They don't care. They'll take your money. They'll rip you off. So, that could be something that you've had some experience or similar, and you're just like, oh God, I'll never forget that. I was mad. I was so angry. Getting angry with an ex for his nitpicking over how much I spent. Feeling shame sitting with the accountant. That's a really popular one. I would say popular, I mean common one. Yeah, I really love that. Okay, so you see, all of these examples are things that have come up when you're doing that clearing process of just going through all the memories you can think of. And maybe you have to do this a couple of times, because once you've asked yourself the question and you have that initial download of memories, you may have more that comes up, whilst you kind of opened that lid, haven't you? So then you sleep on it, and the next day more may come up. Do exactly the same process. Get them out of your head onto paper. Just read them all. Forgive yourself. Forgive whoever was involved. You can do the Ho'oponopono prayer or tap on them, and then score through them so you cannot see them anymore. They're done. They're finished out of your psyche. Okay, so as I said, I tapped and recited Ho'oponopono. When I felt a shift, that's when I then went to scribble them out. So you may have your own clearing processes, whatever you practice. So go ahead, use whatever works for you. Just don't identify with the limiting thoughts and feelings. So through this clearing process, you've actually made some space in your consciousness to start installing those new beliefs for the new improved paradigm. So step 2 is flooding the subconscious. So this is a quote from Neville Goddard, who I absolutely love if you've not read any of his stuff. So Neville Goddard says, the conscious generates the ideas and impresses these ideas on the subconscious. The subconscious receives ideas and gives form and expression to them. The conscious impresses the subconscious, while the subconscious expresses all that is impressed upon it. Your desire is conscious. Your desire is the conscious idea that you want to impress onto the subconscious so your subconscious can express it externally. So in order to create a result that is currently beyond your present paradigm, and if it wasn't beyond your present paradigm, you'd already be living it by now, right now. Think about that. You need to impress it upon the subconscious. So the subconscious accepts as true whatever the conscious mind presents to it and expresses it in outward form. The way to creating your wishes fulfilled, to creating your 5-figure monthly income goals and your vision, is to create a new paradigm within which the subconscious can express itself. So, i.e., I receive at least 10K every month with ease and grace. I receive 10K every month with ease and grace. Once the subconscious mind has this imprinted within its program, its blueprint, you will act in accordance with this outcome. So how do you create a new impression on the subconscious? By now it's not instantaneous, right? Otherwise we'd be manifesting all sorts of things. There's a lag time, but in this particular instance, we need to train. We need to change the paradigm, like change the program. So how do we do that? Through repetition. So this is how we learn from age 7 upwards. You do something often enough, it becomes a habit. You think a thought frequently enough, it becomes a belief. So the idea is to consistently flood your subconscious with the impressions of your desires and flood your system at a cellular level with the chemical cocktail that your desires release. So this is all aligned with what we just spoke about in the previous video. If you've watched the previous training on creating that vision for yourself and getting crystal clear, we're talking about the same process here. So this is kind of taking it to the next step with your journaling on that vision, and really getting it so clear. But the journaling piece is going to support you to create those monthly income amounts. So the step 3 is being vigilant for the specs and signs. So this is again why I strongly recommend you keeping a tracking journal, because you're going to need to be open and vigilant, because things are going to emerge that may appear on the surface unrelated to your desires, but they're all stepping stones, specs and signs. So I like to think of myself as a mad professor conducting an experiment with the subject being myself. So the universe is constantly guiding you to your desired outcome. And the only way you can get what you want is to be a match to it, to be on the same frequency as it. So the reason you're not a match to it is due to your past limiting paradigms. For example, I have to work really hard to earn 10K per month. Therefore, you're going to sabotage that result because you're protecting yourself from burnout. But our paradigms are subconscious. We're unconscious to them. Therefore, we will be guided into situations that reveal them to us. So I hope that makes sense. You know, the universe is beautiful. It will guide us into situations that trigger us in order to help us reveal what is that unconscious block, the unconscious belief. So that's so, so important to understand. So step 4 is the growth paradox. So this is essential to be aware of if you're going to be able to stay the course, keep the faith, and maintain momentum in the direction of your desires. It's going to appear to you that things take a turn for the worst, just momentarily, but yes, it's likely that things will get worse just before they get better. And this is what I call the growth paradox, because you are growing. Everything is moving in the direction of your dreams and desires, yet everything seems to be going backwards. And it's when too many people throw in the towel and they give up because it feels hopeless. It's when others believe that the universe is testing them. So I'm sure you can relate from personal experience of this phenomenon when things get worse before they get better, no matter what you're doing. So it's kind of like when you're having a deep cleansing facial and the next day you have a skin breakout, or you've had a physio session and the pain is worse the next day. This is the process of all the junk, mental and emotional, rising to the surface. It's got to come up in order to come out. So you might feel profoundly sad, or fear might overtake you. Often they'll express in the physical too, like you'll have an unexpected bill or a fallout with a loved one, or getting sick or having an accident. You just think, like, what the hell is going on? I've been doing all this deep work and I've been really focused on all this good stuff, and yet, you know, my life seems to be getting worse. That's the growth paradox. The key here to get through this is awareness, understanding, okay, I know what's going on, to fully embrace the knowledge that this is what is happening, and just to surrender to it, relax and release, let go. This is when you surrender versus deliberately focusing and working on your desire. So this is a question that comes up quite a lot around, you know, when do I surrender and when do I like kick on with all these, like the daily mindset work? Well, you do the daily mindset work and all the kicking on and all that good stuff, the action taking, when you feel amazing. You do it to reinforce how good you feel. You don't do it when you feel shitty. Because when you're trying to affirm through gritted teeth, or you're journaling like, I have a 10K, you know, I earn 10K every month, and you feel you're seething, you know, you're pissed off, you're frustrated, you're tired, you're confused because it's not working. All you're doing is reinforcing to yourself that this shit doesn't work. and you're spiritual bypassing with all this, like trying to put positivity on that negative feeling. So you do not do all your disciplines and all of that when you're feeling crap. When you're feeling crap, you surrender, which means relax and release and let go. Let go of the negativity. And this is, you know, the next video is the process coaching technique for just letting go, letting go. So note what happened in your journal. You know, if you know, the unexpected bill, the argument, whatever, note it in your journal. And as you write, just allow yourself to feel what you feel all the time, infusing that appreciation that you're still on your path, even though the evidence seems to be contrary, you know. So it's really important just to be that observer. This is why I talk about putting yourself in a petri dish, and then watch as your wishes fulfill. As you ride the currents, surrendering to the releasing of the junk, acknowledging with gratitude the insights and up levels that have occurred, you will emerge changed. You release that which you no longer, you'll realize that you no longer react to certain things that once would have triggered you. It's huge. Things that triggered you no longer even, you know, touch your stuff. It's just not on your radar anymore. You're free of it. And you'll be acting from a higher state of being, making empowered decisions from love, not fear. And things start to fall into place because you've surrendered rather than resisted or spiritually bypassed, or, you know, whatever it is. And as you commit to doing this work, you'll begin to notice that so much has shifted, so much has changed, and quite rapidly too. You'll see, you know, things will be very different. If you just did this for 30 days, you will see a profound difference in how you feel, how you're showing up, your attitude to money, your belief systems. Everything will shift for you. And that's where you start receiving, again, those inspired ideas, the inspiration to move yourself forward. You're being guided towards those big money months. So you'll start getting so many breakthroughs and results. And as you do this, you'll more sincerely believe in your desire, but you'll also be easy about it. This is because you're now stepping into knowing that it is done. It is done. Every teacher teaches the same principles. You know, I study Eckhart Tolle, Bob Proctor, Neville Goddard, Wallace Wattles, Earl Nightingale, all the, you know, the golden oldies, but also the modern day teachers, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Mike Dooley, Bruce Lipton. You know, they all teach the same principles. They may use slightly different language, but it's all the same message. And that's why it's so super inspiring. So there is a time for surrender and there is a time for focused action taking. And it's all dependent on where you are on the vibrational scale. So the trick to all of this is discipline and repetition. So please commit to this. You're here to get results. I can do my bit. But you have to take responsibility for doing your bit. And this really is your bit, to really commit to doing this process, understanding when do I need to let go and surrender? When do I need to go into focused action taking? Observing yourself, observing your results. It's the petri dish. Okay, so if you have questions, if resistance is coming up, or you just want to share your thoughts and insights on this, or any experiences that you've had that this is resonating with, then please go into the mindset topic in Telegram and share. And I'd love to hear that, your insights and questions. All right, my dear, thank you so much for hanging with me and watching this, and I will see you in the next video.